Hey, this is Miko, and I'm going to talk today, give you uh, a few basic sales techniques. They apply specifically for car sales, but they can apply to other industries as well, other sales. And the reason I'm doing this is because these days we're right now 3 years after COVID, and these days there are a lot of salespeople that never had to work in a traditional sales environment before COVID when you had to go on test drives. There was a lot of inventory. You had to have some sales skill to be able to sell cars. And then we had COVID when there were no test drives and you just sold, remotely or whatnot. Then we are in the situation when there's the inventory source cars that it's a seller's market. So your job when you have cars is really easy. Just take a deposit, sell the car, and if that person is not buying, you got to sell it to somebody else. But this is changing. First of all, a lot of manufacturers already get inventory. Also, even in the scarce inventory situation, it's good to be better at your job because it'll be better for your customers. You'll get more repeat clients instead of just being, I have it, want it, take it, no, go away. And so it'll help you with repeat clients, build business for later, and just move your process faster and help you get more profit. So let's get into it. The order is kind of like arbitrary. I try to arrange it. Some of them are more important and useful than others, but we'll just go through the list. So the first sales technique is actually a big one, and I put it in one kind of like one bundle. And the sales technique is build rapport. What does it mean? People buy everything, specifically cars, from people they like. So building rapport, meaning to establish a relationship with a customer that makes you actually, it's a mutual relationship, makes you like each other. It's really important for the customer to like you, but also kind of important for you to like the customer. And I have a separate video. Go back and watch the video about NLP. That's like really break it down to scientific or quasi-scientific level. But basically, here's how you build rapport. You ask questions, you show interest in the customer, real interest, not fake. You um, use a little bit of a small talk. This is something that's actually more difficult for me, not something I like, but I force myself to do that. Um, Look for similarities between you and the customer. Again, it could be ridiculous. Like there's a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode when Larry David sells cars, and when the customer says, "Well, my name is Audrey," oh, my cousin's dog name is Audrey. So that's not really a similarity. That's absurd. But look for something. You find out where they live. See if you know somebody there. See if you know which street, which neighborhood. You know where they grew up. Maybe you'll know something about it. What do they drive? Do you know anything about the car they drive? Anything you can find. So build rapport is the most important first sales technique. Second sales technique is a little bit more specific. I call it get to yes. So a story. I couldn't find this online or find reference, but I heard this many times before. Apparently, long time ago, there was actually a full industry of selling books door to door, specifically selling encyclopedias. It'll be like you sell a huge thing, I don't know, 50 tomes of encyclopedia, and people loved it because it looks nice on the shelf, looks like they know how to read or whatever. And there were like a fleet of salespeople. That was their job, going to door, knock, and try to sell it. So it was a good business. It was a big industry. People did sell it, but obviously there was closing rate maybe was not as great as they hoped for. So the company that did that hired a few psychologists and had them develop a script. And the script was person to person, face to face. And the whole idea was that the script went like this. I would knock on your door, you open the door, and I ask, "Are you Mr. Johnson?" Yes. Is this address? This is the address. So ask questions I already know answers to. Yes. I ask a couple of these something that I already know. Is your phone number this? So I get a few yes responses. The more yes responses you get, the easier it'll be for you later to to get a commitment, to get an agreement. So, as a definition, that's what I found on the internet. Ask for a little yes first, then build on that. Salespeople sometimes call this foot in the door technique. Begin by asking your prospect to agree to a simple request, such as making a small transaction or completing a simple questionnaire. So, in the world of car sales, um, what could it be? Well, how about a test drive? It's something that you know already. Just get customers to agree. If the more you find them to agree to find ways to get customers to agree with you, the better it's going to be later. Technique number 3 is power words. Think about the words you choose. And overall, it's a good idea, but certain words are more convincing than others. So, just for a list of a few words that work much better, one is there's like an opinion that it's the most convincing word in the English language is because. Again, there were some studies made. You probably can look it up, not going to bore you. But if I tell you, you should buy this car is awesome, it's one way to say that. But if I say, you should buy this car because this car is awesome, studies were made that this actually convinces people more. So even just the simple word that you, once I say because, it convinces you that there is some kind of reason. That reason might not make sense at all or to you specifically, but it does something. And then words that just move closer to sales that I like is opportunity, easy, instant, free. If something is free, definitely use it. Imagine, like if I'm talking, the customer asks a question about some feature, and I'm telling, well, imagine you driving. Where do you live? You live in San Mateo. So imagine you're driving from San Mateo to San Francisco, and this happens. So just get the customer to think. Once they think about this, once they actually imagine it in their world, they're kind of like mentally taking ownership. We do not use the word I, and it's actually, I've seen this with car salespeople, especially when they're not confident, with a lot of confidence, they use a lot of I. Like, this is me, this is my dealership. When a customer will ask, well, what cars do you have in stock? Well, I have this car in stock. First of all, no, it's not I. FBI negotiators tell you always, it's not I, it's we. Let's see what we can do. We are the dealership. There are people that work with me. We all work together to help you. We have these cars, we have that. Next level is if you can include something, build a sentence where you include the customer in the we. You and the customer, well, we drove this car and how did it feel to us? Something like this. So just get on their side. Uh, Word of advice or caution, do not get too cheesy with those things. Sometimes, like I've read advice that's really ridiculous. Like, don't say payment, say an investment. Well, that's, it's not good. I don't think it's going to work on a modern consumer. Payment is a payment, or contract is a contract. Some people say, well, it's an agreement and you're not going to sign it. You're just going to, whatever, accept it. No, certain things are what they are. Payment is a payment, down payment is a down payment. So don't go too crazy with that, but think about the words you're using. All right, technique number 3, reciprocity. This is again very simple psychological technique is if I give you something, it makes it much easier for me to ask you to do something. Like even when people teach you, like when you move to a new neighborhood and you want to make friends with your neighbors, ask for something. So when you ask for something, now they feel better to talk to you, feel it's easier to talk to you and ask you something in return. So what we're doing it in reverse. Customer comes in, offer a refreshment. Hopefully you have free coffee or some drinks. Offer them a drink, offer them a soda. It's a good idea to have some, bottled water or soda. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it, but if it helps you make a sale, what's that, 50 cents for a Diet Coke? Offer information, offer some advice. Even if you see like a customer came in and they're like, it doesn't feel like they're in the market yet, you don't feel like there's a sale, help them, give them advice, tell them which dealership is good to use for. Like, for example, um, people will come into my BMW dealership and come up that they're also shopping for an Audi. And I will tell them, It's a great vehicle as well. Are you going to that Audi dealership across the street? Yes, where? We'll ask for Lorenzo. I know Lorenzo is a good guy. Tell him I sent you. So something like this. Test drive is a free thing that we offer. There's a reason we do free test drive. So don't make a big deal of it, but offer it. It's a free thing. Next, basic sales technique. It's very basic. The alternate choice close or just technique. The definition that I found is it works by basically giving your customer a choice of two options. But the key to success of the strategy is that either answer is a positive minor agreement that ultimately leads towards a major decision. So this is actually really important in car sales, especially when you start talking about car selection. Um, when new salespeople lack confidence, a lot of times they ask questions like, "Well, great, what color do you like?" This is a bad idea. What colors? You give them offer. We give them a choice. Okay, not me, we have white, gray, and green. Which color do you think works best for you? So that's an alternate choice. When you get in an appointment, it's a phone call. This is the most basic application of this technique. Not when can you come in, not I'm open 24/7, contact me anytime. It's okay, you're thinking of test driving? Great. I have availability today at 4:30 p.m. or tomorrow morning at 10:15. Which one will work best for you? So alternate choice. The assumptive close is similar to that. And again, I'll read the definition. It's a strategy where salespeople negotiate with the prospects as if the deal has been struck. The assumptive close supposedly works because it doesn't allow the prospect to sit in your offer, giving them time to conjure up issues and objections, which can result in them backing out of the deal completely. So, same thing. You test drove the car. You see the customer is not sure, but you got them to sit down and you tell them, okay, do you think you'd rather lease or finance? Okay. And do you think you'll trade your car or sell it privately? Okay. Do you think you will go for 36 months finance or 48 months? And just move along like that. So, same idea. You give them choices. It's not a question of, are you going to buy this car? You're never going to ask that. You just move along. Sometimes you'll just say, like customers, well, I'm not ready to buy today. I'm just collecting information. Yeah, I totally understand. Hypothetically, if you were to buy today, would you go with this car or this car? So again, you're not. It's not a hard sale. You understand they're not going to buy. It's a hypothetical question that's going to help you move along. All right, and a few last ones. Testimonial closing. Testimonial close is a technique. Instead of talking about the product yourself, share the experience of actual users who have benefited from your product. So just think about stories. Hopefully, you already have some customers. Hopefully, you followed up with them and called them after the purchase and they told you how they like the car, where they go, or any stories like that. Read up on forums and use that information. Tell stories sell. That's why we like books, we like movies, we like TV series and just fiction stuff because they're stories. It's not just this is how you should do it. This is what this product goes. It's a story. Here was a customer. Here was this lady that she got this car because she thought will happen, and at the end something else happened. Something like this. Connected to this is social proof. It connects the persuasiveness of an idea or behavior to how others have responded to it. When many other people engage in something, it triggers the brain to reduce the perception of risk associated with an idea of activity. So, this is the reason we're all drawn to best selling books, blockbuster movies, crowded restaurants, and so on. So, I see this right now firsthand because right now I work with Toyota dealerships and this is social proof sells Toyotas. Toyotas, I see them. They're okay cars. I know they're reliable. They're not cheap. They're not, compared to some other brands, they don't look as nice. Performance is not like the best performance. They sell because you can see everybody has, how many Priuses are on the road, okay? So just use that information, whatever you can, but just numbers. How many, and make it specific. How many cars did you sell of that specific model? So that information helps you move along. And the final one that I'm going to include is the urgency clause. This one you have to be really careful and know where to use that because that's borderline cheesy if it's not used in the right context. But this is good in closing, especially like with tough inventory. Well, I know you're not sure, and I know, maybe numbers not exactly working out for you. Just want to let you know this is the last car we have. This is the only one we have. Or, these cars sell really fast. On average, we sell them within 3 days. So this one is available, just so you know. If think as much as you want, just so you understand. In a week, statistically, it's not going to be here. Um, that's one way to use urgency. Another one is like right now, interest rates are crazy. If your manufacturers or a bank still offers, there's some kind of offer of the special rate, it's always going to have an expiration date, usually end of the month. So use that to your advantage. Use that maybe if you feel that the customer like on the edge and just needs to think about it a little bit more. Absolutely, sir. Think about it. Just know that, there's this opportunity. Right now, the rate is this much. We know what it is now. Next month, nobody know what it's going to be. So that's it. I believe these are 9 basic sales techniques. I hope it's helpful to you and it will help you sell more cars quicker, have happier customers, and make more money. Thank you.